Welcome back, guys, to another video, race number one. Let's get into it. Firstly, guys, please let me know if you can hear me. The microphone, it seems to be playing up slightly, but if you can hear me, great, we can get into some content. So Adrian Newey is set to be announced as a team member, as a member of team for Aston Martin this coming Tuesday. Now, I say this coming Tuesday after the weekend, next Tuesday. So Aston Martin or Lawrence Stroll, they've put on together where is it here? If I load this up for you guys will be able to see it. Aston Martin have invited the media to its Silverstone facility on September the 10th for a conference, though the event's agenda remains undisclosed. What could that be? It's definitely not going to be Lance getting his contract renewed, and 100% it's not going to be anything to do with Alonso getting an extra 1 or 2 years. So the only thing it can be is surely the announcement of Adrian Newey, right? Speculations even suggest that Aston Martin may use this opportunity to announce the hiring of Red Bull Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey, who has been increasingly linked to a future move to Lawrence Stroll's team. At 65 years old, Adrian Newey is widely considered the most accomplished Formula One driver in the history, having played a pivotal role in securing 12 Drivers' Championships. Incredible. 12 Drivers' Championships. 13 Constructors' titles for Williams, McLaren and Red Bull since 1991. Like, incredible. This guy, he's a wizard. He literally is a wizard. Who else knows the inside out of a car? Who else can get the best performance of a car other than Adrian Newey? And is this why we're seeing Red Bull struggle so badly since they've lost Adrian Newey? Because obviously there was some talk around brake balance and losing the brakes. Oh no, sorry. There was some talk around the balance of the car. They've since had this announcement of the brake balance isn't good, or the balance of the car isn't good. There's too much understeer, oversteer. And I imagine something that Adrian Newey would have picked up on straight away and just gone, yeah, just tweak that, do this and do that, and it'd be resulted. But now they're struggling massively. So does that show the raw skill of Adrian Newey? And bear in mind, the guy's, as it says here, right, let's just read this again. 65 years old. 65 years old, and he's able to, he's just incredible. I imagine with this new job, he's not going to be working full time. I imagine he can only surely be doing half days. Don't tell me at 65 years old, he's going to be doing 8 hours a day, every day, because that is insane. If he is, fair play to him. Absolute legend. But why is it important? Why is it important that Aston Martin get Adrian Newey? Well, Lawrence Stroll has been desperate to win. He's a winner, right? He's also a rich billionaire, and all they care about is winning. They don't mind spending money as long as they make money, right? It's a business to him, and 100% with the announcement of Adrian Newey, this team is going to be worth so much more. So much more, especially if they can get some championships. So is it a case that Lawrence Stroll sees this as an opportunity to make some money? Yeah, get Adrian Newey in because he's an amazing developer, right? But they're talking about offering him £100 million for 3 years worth of work. So this will take him up to the age of 68. So at the age of 68, he'll happily retire, drive off into the sunset on 100 million. Absolute insane. But why is it important that they get Adrian Newey? Why is Adrian Newey so key to these new regulations that are coming up? And I'll tell you why. For this exact reason here. So let me just move this out of the way. Here, if we read this here very carefully. So from 26 onwards, Formula One cars will have more agile cars. They'll be more agile, which are 30 kg lighter and thus better able to battle on track. Okay, fair enough. A redesigned power unit featuring increased battery power and even splits between internal combustion engine and electric power for the use of 100% sustainable fuels. Now, the one I've highlighted, I'll read at the end. But we've got increased overtaking opportunities through the introduction of a new system that gives drivers a short burst of additional battery power when within 1 second of the car in front. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. To me, that's a bit like Formula E-esque. Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to work. I'm not a massive fan of that. I do not That's a little bit not sure. Okay, so we'll ignore that one. Improve safety through stronger structures and either tougher tests. Yes, everyone can vouch for that. That's what everyone wants. I don't know if there's anyone that doesn't want these drivers to be safe. Obviously, they're committing their lives on the line pretty much every time they get in the car. It's elite sport. So yeah, making the car safer. I haven't got an issue with that. And then we've got commitment from a record number of 6 power unit manufacturers. Great. That's good. Right, but more importantly, why is Adrian Newey needed for Aston Martin? It is for this third line here. Active aerodynamics in the form of movable front and rear wings to allow for closer racing. Okay, so that is the most important one. And that is why getting Adrian Newey is absolutely massive. So if they're going to bring in an introduction of movable front wings, and you could argue that Mercedes and McLaren are already doing that with their flexible front wing. You could argue that they're already doing that. But the introduction of new regulations in terms of aerodynamics, link that in with the man Adrian Newey. This is going to be epic. I'm sure right now Adrian Newey is probably sat somewhere on a yacht, maybe in the Mediterranean Sea, reading the 26 regulations with a highlighter, and he probably reads it once, and then he reads it again, and by the third time, he's probably found numerous amounts of loopholes, areas that he can expose, because that's all an engineer's job is, right? Is to read what they've put, what the regulations are. So you read it once, see what the regulations are, and then they literally read it a second time to find the loopholes, to find the grey areas, the bits where they think they can bide more performance. And you know, these guys are just absolute wizards, right? They're worth the money. Adrian Newey 100% is worth 100 million for 3 years, because I guarantee you, Aston Martin, we haven't seen it in the last couple of years, right? I think last year they were pretty competitive. This year they're pretty woeful. But bring in Adrian Newey in 2026, and bear in mind he'll start developing that car probably this Christmas, so they'll have a year to work on it. I imagine Adrian Newey will bring Aston Martin up into the mix, and they might be as good as McLaren have been this year. They might be better. They know they're bringing on board Honda. Honda have a good relationship with Adrian Newey, so again, room and scope to grow the business and to grow in performance. But there's definitely 100%. I feel like Adrian Newey at Aston Martin with Max Verstappen. Most importantly, if they can get Max Verstappen, it is incredible. Could you imagine a Fernando Alonso with Max Verstappen as his teammate? Like, how dominant would that pairing be? I don't know who would be a stronger pairing. Obviously, we've got Charles and Lewis in 2026, or even, next year, Charles and Lewis. That will be strong. There's no doubt about it. That will be a very strong pairing. But Max and Alonso, that is mouth-watering. Like, who would actually get the best of who in that pairing? Because Alonso is a wily old fox. He's very skillful. And I think Max would probably learn. If Max learnt some stuff from Alonso, I think Max would become probably one of the most complete drivers we've ever had in Formula One. I think Max is just missing small little parts which Alonso has in bundles. But that is mouthwatering. Could you imagine Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen teaming up on the same team with a quick car? With a car designed by Adrian Newey. The guy that we just read, he's won 13 Constructors' Championships, 12 Drivers' Championships. Like, this would be epic. What he could deliver, what he could bring to the team would be incredible. Then we've got George. I'd like to see George and Lando Norris together. I think that would be a good pairing. George and Lando Norris. I don't know who would get the better out of those two. Guys, drop in the comments below. Who would get the better pairing out? So next year we're going to see Charles and Lewis. Who do you think is going to get the better pairing? Then we've got Max and Alonso dream team. Who would get the best out of those two? Max or Alonso? I don't know. That would be very close. Then if we put George and Lando Norris, I don't know where that would go. I really don't. I think Oscar's probably slightly better. I think by next year Oscar will be outperforming Lando Norris all the time. I really rate Oscar that highly. I really think Oscar is that good. And I think next year George is going to be up against it with Kimi. If Kimi starts putting it on George, I'm not sure how that's going to end. Maybe George could end up moving to Audi in 2026. I don't know how long George's contract is, but I don't imagine Toto's committed to a long deal. I really don't think he's committed to a long deal for George. And you can't blame him. If Max Verstappen's up for grabs, you'd rather get Max Verstappen than keep George Russell, surely. But I would have liked to have seen Carlos Sainz and George Russell. I think Carlos Sainz and George Russell are very evenly matched. And I think that would have been a good pairing to see, is Carlos versus George. I think Alex Albon and Liam Lawson, I think that's another good match. And I think that's one that we're missing out on and that we haven't seen, and it's a shame that we haven't seen that pairing. But nonetheless, Adrian Newey is set to be announced as Aston Martin's new chief engineer. And it's a shame we didn't see him link up with Lewis and Charles at Ferrari. It's such a shame. I feel like that would have been a really good move. And it would have been, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan or a Ferrari fan, that would have been the icing on the cake. Right? Lewis would retire, go off into the distance, probably with his 8th championship. If he had Adrian Newey, I think he would have got his 8th championship. So it's a shame that he hasn't. But there must be reasons why Adrian Newey didn't want to go to a Ferrari. Or Fred Vasseur has come out and there's been some speculations that Ferrari just didn't want to get into a bidding war. And maybe that's the case. But for someone like Adrian Newey, like, history repeats itself in these cars. And no matter what generational car it is, no matter what technical regulations there are, history will always repeat itself. Adrian Newey is a winner. If you want to win, simple, hire Adrian Newey. Now, I know for many years we didn't see Red Bull on the front when they had Adrian Newey, and that was partly down to Mercedes' engine and how much ahead their engine performance was than a lot of the other cars. But going into a new engine regulations as well, knowing that Mercedes are going to be quick, but likewise Honda are coming back into the mix, and Honda will have like a point to prove. They'll want to get back over on Red Bull and say, do you know what, you never should have left us. Shame. We're now champions with Aston Martin. Anyway, guys, drop into the comments below what you think. Are you looking forward to Adrian Newey joining Aston Martin? Do you see Adrian Newey being the spark that can potentially get Aston Martin to the championship? Will they likely win? Whether that's the Drivers' Constructors' Championship with Fernando Alonso, or if they got Max, definitely you'd have to put them as one of the favourites to win the championship. But even the Constructors, do they need to get rid of Lance Stroll? Because no offence, I don't see him getting points for Aston Martin week in, week out, even if they had a quick car. I just don't see him. I don't see enough of his skill. I just really don't see it. Guys, drop in the comments below what you think. It'll be good to get your thoughts. And I'm out. I hope this worked. Peace.